Carmen was a strong-willed young lady. She didn't have fear. I taught her how to water ski. She was an artist, and she was a swimmer. She wanted me to teach her how to fly, so I took her flying. The first time, I gave her the controls, and then after we were done, we were flying back, and she says, "Next time, Dad, I want to land the airplane."
She was a very loving and a very kind-hearted personality, a bit of a comic. She always gave to the underdogs. I mean, she was always that way. She always cared about people.
My mom was a very fun-loving person. She can lighten the mood of any situation. She was very strong, but she raised 7 kids by herself. She did, I think, a pretty good job of instilling respect and manners and how to live life in all of us. So we're all pretty equipped to live life.
She was probably the kindest person I've ever known. Didn't matter what was going on in my life or what I was going through, she was supportive and always right there to make me laugh or make me look at things a little differently. Most wonderful woman that I've ever known. The way I found out that she had been murdered was a friend of mine who was a police officer came to my house. She was killed in her home and taken away and thrown in a ditch. She was by herself and she fought for her life, and this person wanted a beer.
My daughter, Georgia, was 33 years old, and she was murdered by her child's father. He was in custody in prison the majority of their 10 years that she had his child. So when he got out of custody, he killed her, as he had stated that he would. My granddaughter was the one that called on the phone to notify that Mommy was dead.
10 years ago, my mother was shot in her chest by her boyfriend. I was 16 years old. She was shot and murdered right in front of me, and it was a very traumatic experience for me.
One day in August 1987, I received a call that my 22-year-old daughter, Carmen, became a murder victim. It is a parent's worst nightmare. It affected me on a daily basis. Sleep deprivation, lack of concentration, driving down the road, missing the exit on a freeway to go home that you've done thousands of times. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to open the curtains. You want to stay under the covers.
I've been through a lot in my life and I've lost people and it's incredibly painful. But when someone's taken like this, it's a whole different kind of pain. It empties you and it fills you with rage.
Losing her affected me tremendously. I didn't really realize it until I finished college 10 years later and came back, and I was sitting at home and I was just going, I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep. I was depressed. I was real depressed. Wouldn't eat. People that knew me for years didn't recognize me and said, you seem so angry.
I had changed immediately the moment I heard that my daughter was murdered. I went into therapy and the therapist didn't even know how to help me through it. Family and friends, the majority of them were so devastated that they have a hard time processing. Nobody wants to make you cry. Nobody wants to really bring it up. Nobody really wants to talk about her. And still to this day, I want to talk about her.
I needed to know if the feelings that I was experiencing, was it natural or was I actually going crazy? And so as time went on, I was bound and determined that other people would not fall into the area that I did, but not knowing where to start, not getting any help, not getting any evaluation. And so out of that birthed Violent Crime Victim Services.
It would have been really nice to be able to have other people that understood. Knowing the people that are there as well as I know them now, they would have walked every step with me. They would have been there for me, giving me questions to ask, telling me that I'm not the only one that has ever felt that difference.
Violent Crime Victim Services has provided direct services to over 1,000 families in the last 25 years. Crisis intervention, peer support group, and peer counseling.
When you have persons like you have in VCVS who are wounded healers themselves, who understand this unfathomable loss, to be able to sit down with them and say, okay, we're going to meet prosecuting attorney and the chief detective on the case, and just prepare for them what they can expect, to let them know they can answer any questions, to let them know that one of our duties is to keep them fully apprised of things that are going on in the trial. VCVS had an expertise in the criminal procedure, so they could hold the hand of the family members and lead them through the gauntlet of the criminal justice system.
Violent Crime Victim Services was involved in the trial by helping my family, giving us the legal aspects side of it, telling us what to expect, what not to expect, how to respond and react to certain things, because we had never been in that environment before. They made sure that we got to all the trial and pre-trial and everything on time. They were the sunshine when it was a dark day. You know, holidays, we had no food. They'd come the day before Thanksgiving with a box full of food, and we would feed the whole family, and everybody would eat.
We get to experience the reconstruction of people's lives as time goes on.
When I hear of another homicide, I immediately want to be with those people. That's what those people need, or others like themselves.
They brought me from a young, angry, bitter young man to I'm happy. Like, for the first time in 10 years, I'm happy.
We have seen some exciting things happen at Violent Crime Victim Services, where people have got involved with legislators and had laws changed. Domestic violence impact panels, speakers there. People become victim advocates. People that came in broken, and now they are helping the broken.